A lot of them.
Our system works.
Call to order City of Richie City Council meeting Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. I'd like to invite Leader Fields for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge.
So, Father God, we just come to you in the precious name of Jesus. And you said in the book of Timothy 1 and 2 there that we would pray for those in authority, that they would live a life that was pleasing to you and they would make counsel according to your counsel. So, Lord, I thank you for the stuff that they have to make decisions on tonight, that they will hear from the public and the community and things that will bring things that are beautiful, lovely, and noble and just for the people. So the stuff that they got to do is stuff with the codes and redevelopment, the stuff for the community redevelopment agent when that comes up. So we ask for wisdom of that in the city council meeting and all the things that each department here does. So we just continue to look to you and one another as you change our hearts and minds, and that we look at what could be the best for your people in all walks of life. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, have a roll, please.
Mayor John Eric Hoover.
Here.
Vice Mayor Chris Mayer.
Here.
Councilman Robert Hubbard.
Here.
Councilwoman Lisa Burke.
Here.
Councilwoman Christine Sullivan. Here. City Attorney Nancy Meyer. Here. City Manager Don King.
Here. Thank you. Okay, first up, we have no minutes, so we're going to jump right to public comment. Just a disclaimer, public participation is encouraged. If you're addressing the council, step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Please limit your general comments to 3 minutes. For comments on action items, please limit comments to 3 minutes on the current topic. Please limit your conversations while sitting in the audience during council business and silence your cell phones so as not to interfere with everyone's ability to hear the comments of both the public and the council. And that being said, I do have a few signed up, and then after I go through the signups, if there's anybody that's not signed up like to speak, just raise your hand. First up, Danny Fields. Welcome.
My name's Danny Fields, and my address is 8114 Leo Kidd. And again, I just want to thank you for your service. We got a lot of good opportunities coming up to serve the community and each other and come together to work for the better of the people. So, we've got the National Day of Prayer that'll be coming up at the end of our 40 days of prayer. So let me just look at my list here because I got a lot of stuff to cover. So on February the 18th, we're going to be meeting over at the Oasis. That's at 9215 or 12 Little Road at the Oasis, and we're going to be praying for the federal, state, and local government and praying God's will to be done, and that you guys would have wisdom and we would have wisdom to partner together. And so there are a prayer book that I do have for that, so I could get this to the ones that want it, and it's all scriptures, and then you'll see that it was led by God's government and God's word to be able to help us make decisions. So I do have something coming up in Waterfront Park. So on Waterfront Park at 8119 Old Post Road on February the 21st, we are going to be doing what we did to adopt a park. I already got that permit in. Me and Sal's done talked about it. We're covered. We're going to have a group over there to clean it up and do stuff around. So the main thing we're going to do over there is get the mulch looking good, the weeds out, go around, pick all the loose bark up and stuff like that, any brush, and then I'll take pictures of that, get it back to Sal. Mike and them all could come over and anything that needs to be tucked out. That's preparing you for what you guys are going to be doing with the Sea Festival at there. So we just want to be a part of pouring into our communities, helping the city, and being a resource working together with you guys. So we also have a voice, and this is under the banner of Somebody Cares, and local churches come together. So it's an honor to serve God and serve the city and serve the community where we have a lot of family. So we get a lot of feedback from the residents, from the community, And these are things that they like. And they like the events that you guys do in the parks. They like the events that we do in the park and the car shows. And these are things that are really putting us on the map that brings the value that we need. Now, I know there's redevelopment, and a lot of good things that are coming there. As you make decisions on it, that's what I always pray and encourage you when I make my rounds and talk to you as an individual when I can, and pray for you guys and just try to keep us on the same page. You know, I look at what the fire department does and all the events, how they partner with us and to the community. The toy drives the same way with the police department. And there's so much more that we want to be involved with you guys with in this, so we could continue to work together for the better. So we all have a voice. We could all come together. We could counsel it, and you guys make decisions. And decisions you make is going to affect others. Me as a chaplain for the city, as a Christian, and as a resident, I bring all that to you guys. And thank you again for your service.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome.
Okay, next up is Dawn Benedetti. Welcome. Did I say that right, Benedetti?
Yes, sir. Dawn Benedetti, 8114 Leo Kid. Hope you all doing good this evening. I just wanted to explain that I've been taking a class over through Turning Point USA Faith. Been taking a class on biblical citizenship, so it's kind of addressing all the things about how the government works and how everything and how you guys come together and how everything gets approved, disapproved, these kind of things. So this is what brings me here is to try to come in, to serve, to see what I can do or whatever that will help in any way. Trying to work together with you guys, keep you in prayer all of the time. If you're interested in going to that biblical citizenship class, I'm trying to sell it to you. I'm just trying to say if you wanted to learn more about it, I can get you a way to get in that class. It's very interesting. It's free. It's free.
Price is good.
Who doesn't like free? Appreciate you all for hearing from me. Thank you so much. You have a blessed night.
Thank you.
Planning and zoning or the CAC? She wanted to know if there's anything that she could do. Planning and zoning.
Yeah, just obviously we have openings on our board. If you live in the city, I don't know if you're a resident or not. Some committees are restricted to city residents. Others are open outside that. But we do have some positions open in our committees. If you're interested in that, just check with the clerk afterwards. So that's an opportunity. Thanks for that. Next up, I have Troy Peterson. Welcome.
Troy Peterson, 8114 Leo Kid, here at Light of the World Tabernacle. I come wearing a couple hats, and I guess the main thing is I want to thank you all for approving me and electing me to the events committee, because really that's my heart. That's Jesus's heart. He came to serve, not be served. And that's why we're here, is to serve our city, to serve others. And one of the ways that we can do that is by getting on these committees. So, Christine, thank you for that, because that's so important. Now, I pray that even this morning, we're in a prayer meeting. And every Tuesday we meet at the Oasis. And we pray specifically for Pasco County. But this morning, we prayed specifically for each one of you, including you, Nancy. We prayed specifically for you. And what are we praying? We're praying that we would all together receive the wisdom from God, the wisdom from above, which is, first, it's pure. And so we try to keep everything pure, right? Be ye holy because he is holy. We're called to be pure, undefiled, peaceable, gentle. Now, I was told that word today by a good friend of mine at a Turning Point meeting. He says, Pastor, be gentle with them. Be gentle. So I'm trying to be gentle. And Mary, you know what I'm talking about. Just leave it at that. But easily entreated, okay? What is easily entreated? Well, it means for good persuasion. What is going to benefit the city. And ultimately, that's what we want to see. I want to see God bless Port Richey. And God is going to bless Port Richey when we stand up for what he wants us to do. Just a few of them things is working with the police department and the fire department. The toy giveaway, man, it's just touches my heart that we can do these things in the park together. Unwavering, that's without partiality. And that's the one concern that I had. I would encourage the council to watch the events committee from last night. And it's long, but I particularly start at 2 hours, 5 minutes, 37 seconds, because that's what I had to write down. I had to look. And before that, there is one thing that I want you to consider. If we're bringing in bouncy houses and we're doing a family-friendly seafood festival in the park, do we want people driving around with golf carts going from bar to bar? Or do we want a vendor that's selling moonshine in our park that we're not even supposed to drink in? And so these are questions that I have to ask myself. And I do have the law here,
I'm gonna have to.
but I will just leave that at that. Was that the beeper on my time? All right. Thank you so much for your time, and it's an honor to serve with you all.
Appreciate you. Next up, Lord. Welcome.
Mayor, Council, it's a joy to be here. Leonard Lord. I've been pastoring right at 31 years on 8114 Leo Kidd Avenue and working here for 43 years. And so it's a joy to be here. The chief of police and the captain came in years ago to our prayer meeting and said, Leonard, we're going to make you the pastor of the city. And so then the mayor and council gave me the keys to the city, so I've kind of felt from there, they saw some things that when we brought God's wisdom that they didn't do, that things got out of whack. So I'm just going to say, first of all, I just want to say, Mayor, council, live forever. It's all about Jesus and eternity, isn't it? And so just a couple of things. Pastor Jerry couldn't be here, so I'd like to share from him. He said, well, Leonard, the main thing is what Jesus said. So first I want to quote Jesus, because they were discussing what they do about what they wear and drink and eat. And he says, hey, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all this will be added to you. So, council, Jesus himself said, if you'll seek his kingdom, his power, his glory, and his authority, and do it his way, that he'll add everything we need. And so Pastor Jerry was encouraging me with that, and that's kind of a foundational scripture. You know, sometimes we seek all this other stuff before we seek him and his kingdom. And then the scripture I had, I'm reading Isaiah 30 and verse 1, and please check me on it. But it says, woe to the rebellious children that seek counsel but not of me, and a covering but not of my spirit. So I just want for letting us do what we do to speak, and you were very wise to put Troy on the events committee, because probably for the last 8 or 10 years he's been right beside the planning committee that we've prayed over and did in that park, and that's why people come. We do more praying probably than we do planning. And so I just want to encourage you that seek first. That's not just it happening. And so I just want to say thank you for having the wisdom to put Troy up there. And I would really encourage you to listen to his counsel, because he's got a lot of wise people around him. And even in our prayer meeting today, they were all standing together. No, that needs to be a family park. There's a law that way for that reason. So we don't need this. So just want to encourage you, say, God bless you. Thank you that we're free enough to share our voices with you, and God bless you. We do pray for you a lot. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
That's all science I have. By show of hands, anyone else like to speak? Welcome. Name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Gary Kuehl. You may have remembered me coming 6 weeks or so ago and giving you all high praise, because I just am so impressed about how you as a council for the city have worked so well with the whole community, including the church community, and I think that's so important. And I know how hard your job I've sat in your chairs. And I've been on many of these kinds of I've been a councilman and a planning board member and all sorts of different positions. It is a tough, tough job. But I've got to say this, over the course of my 40 some odd years in business and in public servant kind of positions, I find that the toughest part of your position, your seat that you've got to sit in, is the fact that sometimes we have to make the right decision, and it's not the popular decision. And that's when things get really tough, because you know in your heart what is the right thing to do, and yet you know what the opposition is that you're going to have to face if you make that decision. So I bless you all for that time, those times when you have to face those circumstances. And I just have to say this also. This whole question about the alcohol issue in the park. I think a lot of citizens of our country these days are very, very concerned because they see our leaders making exceptions, creating rules to get around the rules. And it makes us as citizens wonder to ourselves, what is the impetus? What's in the background causing our leaders who we chose to make a decision against the law that is already in place to come up with something to get around it? And we see it all the time in our society right now. It's a very, very tough thing to watch our leaders make decisions against our own laws and not uphold the laws that stand. And it takes away the public confidence. So I just say that, like I say, I've been in your seats. I know how tough this is. But I commend you all. You're doing this, and you're doing it out of the goodness of your hearts in most cases. And God bless you. So keep on the good work.
Thank you, Mr. Cool. Show of hands, anyone else like to speak? Okay, so I'll close public comment, and moving right along to comments from the city manager, I'll pass it to Mr. King for his comments.
Mayor, council, I don't have any comments for this evening.
Oh, okay. And moving right along to comments from boards and committees. Do we have any board and committee comments from, I have an event, but CAC?
Linda's gonna take care of that.
Hey, Lynn?
Linda Rodriguez, 5917 Lantern Court. We did have a CAC meeting. We were going to bring the bathroom stuff, just the bathroom wall, but we only had the one that we showed you, the Agata one. The other artists will be bringing it. So I just wanted to give you an update. We are still working on that. That'll come to, the committee decided to give them another month to get those drawings in so that we had some choices, hopefully, that they'll submit them. So I just wanted to let you know that that's what we're doing. So hopefully you'll get those next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool, thank you. Any other boards, committees before I do the event? Okay, so from the event committee, which obviously we've kind of got, you guys are kind of finding out, I guess, from public comment, there was some conversation at the event committee. And so we had a motion, a second, and an overwhelming recommendation from the committee to talk about two different things. The first one is, obviously, we're having the seafood festival, and there's one particular vendor that they do craft moonshine, and they do tastings, I guess, of that. If you taste, if you like it, you buy the moonshine, and they was asking about participating in the park. Our current code, I've looked at it a little bit, but it's my understanding, and probably need your weigh in on exactly what it is, but it sounds like to me no alcohol at all in the park. It would include bringing it in to sell it. Obviously can't drink it and all these things in there, but you can't even bring it in. And so that would prevent them from doing that. So the question was, is there any appetite from council from that aspect of it that they would want to, and again, I don't want to talk about it tonight. It would need to be an agenda item so the public could be notified and all the public could be here to opine on it. But it was a recommendation of the event committee to ask council if you guys are open to looking at ways that for the events that a vendor could sell alcohol. And this particular one, like I said, it was moonshine. It could be a craft wine. It could be a craft beer. You see different things like that. I don't know how it would work on, say, a rum cake or something. I don't know if that would strictly be out.
That's different.
I think it's somewhat different.
I have no tolerance for that at all, and I think it should stay out of the park.
Yeah.
I mean, they shouldn't be in the park. There's facilities, there's places, there's bars, if they want to
There's
promote
nothing
that.
going on around here.
But-
you know, we don't need to bring it in there where all the kids are and people are playing.
Okay.
Exactly. No.
So, is anybody other comments on it?
I believe it's a double negative. I think there's restrictions on the park itself outside of code, so I think it's 2 no's.
Okay. Lisa, you same? Okay. The other part of that was, and there was a motion that was made. There was no second on it to talk about just events in general. Sorry, take it back. For the seafood festival, if there was any appetite to be able to open that event up for like a beer tent or something where people could come and be at a certain area that they would be able to drink alcohol. And if there wasn't anything specific about it, just for the seafood festival, that failed. And then there was another motion that was made just in general, because I said, if we're going to go back and talk about the vendor, maybe we go ahead and talk about that and get council's thoughts on, do we open that up for events in general at some point? And what it would be if council wanted to look at having the possibility to have that in the park, that they would, there'd be some kind of special permit process. So I guess the question is, right now it's strictly off limits, okay? And it will always be off limits. What was asked is if for future events, that council would have the ability to, if they wanted to, open it up for alcohol, or you just, because right now there's no path to that at all. And so that's the question. If there's any interest in talking about that, let me hear what your thoughts are on that.
Is it not against FCT anyway for that part?
But it's against, there's regulations in the park documents that's not allowed.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
And
the case or
somebody
not.
granted that land to the city with stipulations as well, and I don't, in my family, I have an aunt that's granting land to the state of Wisconsin, and there's, she has her stipulations, and I would hate to think that later on down the road they would, backtrack and do things that she didn't intend for the land. So I just
Well, if that's the case, it wouldn't be something we
Yeah.
could override anyway.
right. So yeah, I would say no.
Well, there's a lot of reasons I'm against it. One is you're setting up precedents that I don't think should be good, and you're also just putting in competition against people that have bars and restaurants where people want to go, they can go there if they want to have beer or something to drink, and they're not going to take their kids there. And so there's a lot of problems with doing that, and I don't want to set precedents to have it available in a park. I've never been to a festival where they've had that in a park, alcohol, beer, anything like that. There's bars and restaurants, that's where people go nearby, and they can sit down there and have a drink if they want to have a drink.
Okay. Same thing? Okay. So I will report back to the event committee that council has no appetite to talk about that. There's no need to have it on the agenda. Done deal. Okay. Have anything else? Board committees. Just to give you an update. So we do have a couple verbal commitments on donations, both $2,500, another one for $500. So we are raising money for that event. We have over 40 vendors already signed up for the waterfront park. So you heard about the bouncy houses. So should make that decision next week at our meeting. We're gonna have I think the potential to have 3 kid like a obstacle course, a slide, and some other game thing, blow up the kids, and we'd have that kind of back corner of the park, kid zone. Let's see what else. Going on to the comment about the golf carts. So originally we got the seafood festival, we've got vendors there. We were looking at possibly doing a kite event through one of the residents that does that, the kite surfing event. He's still looking into that. Again, that's based on weather, and that's something that can come up or not based on the weather. So that still could possibly happen. But we were also talking about having a boat poker run where guys get on their boats, guys and gals, families, whatever, get on boats and go. They scan their thing at each one of the still houses. And at the end of that, the best poker hand wins prizes or whatever. I guess you guys know what poker runs are. And integrating that into the event. However, because she was able to, Patty Dermer was looking at that. She was able to get a couple of the still houses, but some of those folks haven't got out there to clean them yet. Water's been cold and whatnot, and so they're not going to be able to get that done by our March 14th event. So they're actually going to look at possibly doing something along with that, including Dirty Key later on in the year, probably around the July 4th festival timeframe. So that's something that may come later. So that kind of fizzled out. But I happen to see on Facebook that on March 14th, the same day as our event, that Rod Furnell with Hidden Creek Golf Carts is having his biannual poker run with golf carts at different restaurants, and for the same day. And so I reached out to him and said, why are you scheduling your event on our event or whatever, kind of in jest or whatever. And then I asked him, I said, is that something that you might want to couple with us to work with on? He was amenable to that. So when we talked about that last night, he's very much in favor of joining us on that. And so the event committee talked about that. So we're going to integrate that golf cart poker run. And he said he's probably 150 to 200 carts. And what they'll do is they'll start at Waterfront Park at the Seafood Festival. He'll have a tent there, and then they'll go. I did talk to Chief about crossing 19 at Grand. We're going to work on specific time frames when that can happen. Get them across there. They would go do the that side of 19 over in Newport Richey, and then they do have one stop already scheduled in Port Richey, which is off the river. So that they would come back, and then they would have a couple stops over here, whether it be Whiskey Joe's, Catches, all that to be determined. He's going to work on stops on our side, and then the poker run would end in Waterfront Park at the Seafood Festival, and they would stay for the music, enjoy the rest of the festival. So kind of going along with that, the poker run. The other thing we talked about was a fishing tournament. We've got a family, family, the Tarpon Springs Fishing Club. They are willing to run the entire fishing tournament. I think Bob, that's a friend of yours you turned me on to him, and so I reached out to them. They came last night, and they're willing to run with that, and so they're working on the fishing tournament. We should have that stuff finalized next Monday as well. So that's kind of the stuff we talked about. Any questions from council?
What's the date of the Seafood Festival?
March 14th. It's a Saturday, and it starts at 10 in the morning, and it goes till 9 o'clock at night. And on the music, so and Lisa obviously does that for a living, and so she's been working on trying to find folks for us. We did set a budget for music of $2,500. We're going to have a DJ from 10 to 2. Then from 2 to 4 we'll have an artist. From 4 to 6 we'll have an artist, and from 6 to 9 we'll have the headliner on artist.
Issue because you can't. We're gonna have to work on that because you can't go 2 to 4 and then the next person automatically starts. So it's gonna be
Right.
It's gonna be 2:30 issue.
And those are hard times. We want to have 3 folks and how to fit those in there.
But that time frame.
Yeah.
But there's little logistics.
Yeah, so don't.
A variety in the artists. A little country, a little rock and roll, a little Christian, kind of like that.
A little bit.
All bluegrass I've asked for, just so.
Yeah.
And barbershop quartets.
The good news is you only get one vote.
That's right.
You're not getting reelected.
I don't know. My barbershop was pretty well received. So, but anyway, so that's kind of the layout that we have. Any questions? I think that covers all the event.
Yes.
Okay. If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Item number 1, I need a motion to approve the February 10th, 2026 consent agenda.
Second.
I got motion, and I got Bob with the second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, put a vote on in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have a public hearing. Item number 2, second reading of ordinance number 26-742, amending section 10-3018, article 3, chapter 109 of the Land Development Code to repeal more restrictive requirements. I will pass that to Ms. Meyer for reading.
Thank you. Ordinance number 26-742, an ordinance of the city of Port Richey, Florida, amending section 109-318, article 3, division 1, chapter 109 of the Land Development Code to repeal more restrictive requirements adopted by the City Council of Port Richey prior to the passage of Senate Bill 180, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. And so I will now open up the public hearing. I don't have any sign-ups, but anyone like to speak on that topic? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and open up for council motion or discussion.
Motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 26-742.
Okay,
Second.
the motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have a public hearing on item number 3, second reading of ordinance number 26-743, amending chapter 109, Article 3, Division 5 of the City of Port Richey Land Development Code to remove language allowing the use of temporary shelters pursuant to section 163.0335 Florida statutes, and amending chapter 12, Article 3, section 12-47 to add language allowing the use of temporary shelters pursuant to section 163.035 Florida statutes. I'll pass that to Ms. Meyer for her reading.
Ordinance number 26-743, an ordinance of the City of Port Richey, Florida, amending Chapter 109, Article 3, Division 5 of the City of Port Richey Land Development Code to remove language allowing the use of temporary structures pursuant to Section 163.0335 Florida statutes, and amending Chapter 12, Article 3, Section of the City of Port Richey Code of Ordinances to add language allowing the use of temporary shelters pursuant to Section 163.0335 Florida statutes, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, with that, I'll open up the public hearing. I don't have any sign-ups, but anybody show of hands like to speak on that topic? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to council for a motion and or discussion.
Discussion.
Okay.
This is the auxiliary dwelling units in the backyard?
No, this just moved language you guys adopted about temporary structures that we just put in the wrong part of the code. And we are working with FDEM on the prior ordinance we just dealt with about the more restrictive things.
Is this where we're mirroring the
just moved
state
it.
of Florida?
Yeah. Yes, you're mirroring the state of Florida, and this is just physically moving it from one part of your code to another. That's it, not changing the requirements.
Motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 26-743.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, conclude public hearings. Next up, council business. Item number 4, first reading of ordinance number 26-740, City of Port Richey Code 101-11, definitions in Chapter 121 signs. I'll pass that to Ms. Meyer for reading.
Ordinance number 26-740, an ordinance of the City of Port Richey, Florida, amending City Code Section 101-11 definitions in Chapter 121 signs to remove or revise outdated or preempted provisions and to ensure compliance with prevailing First Amendment case law, to provide for additional definitions related to signs, to reorganize sections of the chapter for clarity and consistency, making related findings, provided for codification, severability, and an effective date.
Okay. Mr. King, do you have any additional comments you wanted to introduce with?
Mayor, I do not.
Okay. So also we've went through the sign code, several workshops, and this is, we had it as a first reading. It's come back to us now. We made a few substantive changes, which requires another first reading. And so those substantive changes that we went with are now in here. And so I'll open up to council for discussion and or
Public.
that comes after. It's a public hearing, second reading is public hearing.
Oh, okay.
So they'll get to comment after. So yeah, we have motion or we discuss.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve the first reading of ordinance number 26-740.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, any public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back, put it to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is item number 5, first reading of ordinance number 26-741, amending chapter 127, article 3, section 127-55 of the Port Richey Code. I'll pass that to Ms. Meyer for a reading.
Thank you. Ordinance 26-741, an ordinance of the City of Port Richey, Florida, amending Chapter 127, Article 3, Section 127-55 of the Port Richey Code of Ordinances, making the sign requirements in the Waterfront Overlay District consistent with the Chapter 121 of the Land Development Code, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. And Mr. King, you have any additional comments to introduce? No, not on this. Okay. Obviously, so this is somewhat in tandem with the one we just passed. The one we just passed, obviously, is for public benefit, was a kind of a rehaul of our sign code in general. The Waterfront Overlay District has a specific set of restrictions on signs. And so what this particular thing is doing is removing that, and it just falls under the regular sign code. Yep. sums it up.
It allows digital signs now, I guess.
Yeah, so it basically, whatever's in the sign code would apply to the waterfront overlay district as well. There's no special distinction.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 26-741.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any further discussion? Okay, any public comment? Seeing none, put it to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, item number 6, mutual aid agreement, regional child abduction response team. I'll pass it to Mr. King for introduction.
What I'd like to say is next two items, Chief Ruggiero is going to talk about it, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to thank him for all the hard work and time and effort you put into these things. It's been a shining example of what you're doing down there in the department, so thank you.
Thanks. So this is a mutual aid agreement for the Tampa Bay Regional Child Abduction Response Team. So every agency has people specially trained to respond if we have an incident like that. So there's really no jurisdictional boundaries. If it happens in Tampa, we would send people down there. If it happens here, every agency would send people here that are part of this agreement. So it's a good thing that's specialized training that the people on the teams get. It's something we've been part of in the past, and it's something I think it's very beneficial for our city. God forbid we ever need to use it or activate it.
Okay. Council for motion or discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mutual aid agreement with FDLE and Tampa Bay regional agencies to participate in the child abduction response team.
Bob already seconded. Didn't know what your motion for, but you still got a good second on there?
Christine said she'll second it.
Second.
Oh, okay,
I
Christine.
stepped out of bounds.
That's all right. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, put to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And last up in council business, item number 7, local law enforcement immigration grant award. I'll pass it to Mr. King for introduction.
We'll get some clarity on this today. I know there's been some confusion in the community regarding this grant, just based on the language on it, but it's actually a positive thing for us, and Chief, let them know what this is for.
So this grant is, a lot of people are misconstrued about the immigration grants. People don't want these grants. It's basically paying us to do our jobs anyway, and it's giving us free money. So we applied for the money not for overtime or to go out there and hunt people or do anything like that. We did our training already, so our guys know what they're supposed to be doing. If they pull somebody over and they're flagged with an ICE warrant or any type of ICE detainer on them. So we're not actually going door to door and arresting people for it like some people in the public think we are doing. We put in for equipment because this is part of our real-time crime center that I want to start here with our dispatchers. Now that they're not dispatching, they can still see information, and these are tag readers. And a lot of people have controversy with the tag readers, but they're not going after the housekeeper at Motel 6 because she's here illegally. These are going after the worst of the wanted people. And when they're wanted with this warrants, or they have been deported already and now they're back in the country, they have these detainers on them. Those are the people that, when we get these tag readers, they get flagged. Or if you're driving a stolen car, it's going to get flagged and it's going to notify us, hey, we got a stolen car driving down Washington Street right now. So our guys can intercept them and take these criminals off the street rather than letting them get away with it. Right now, we have nobody in our city that's on the ICE detainer list or a request. So we're very fortunate about that. But I'm sure we have people driving through our city every single day that we need to uphold uphold the laws of the state of Florida, not just pick and choose the ones that we want to do. So we put into this grant, and the CFO of the state of Florida generously gave it to us and a couple other agencies that put in for it. And that's what we were planning on purchasing with it, is those license plate recognition readers. Our cars already have these in there. So our cars are actually scanning tags as they're driving by. These will be stationary ones and stuff that ones that we can strategically place in entrances to the city so we know who's coming into our city.
And they're not violating anybody's privacy. These are tag readers for those tags that have been identified. So it's kind of like the most wanted tags, because those have been put in the database for activity.
They're all tags that have been put into the National Crime Information Computer. A lot of people, like I say, they think the government's watching them. We don't have enough people to watch everybody. You know, it's one of those things, the misconceptions that come onto the news media and blown out of proportion in certain areas. And like I say, it's a good crime fighting tool for us to start our real-time crime center. You know that we've gotten our drones. So we're going to be coming back to you with the drone purchases and the license plate recognition purposes. And we are going to do everything we can to stop the crime in the city. You know, we're at a pretty good place right now, but I think we can be even better.
How much is the grant?
The grant is for $32,850 for 9 license plate recognition readers.
And they stand alone, sit somewhere where you put them and they connect into power? How do they work?
So they connect into a system that runs it through the crime computer. You'll notice there's one right out front of our city hall right now that's ran by the sheriff's office.
That's
So
on
when
a
people
tripod out there,
yeah,
right?
when
Okay.
people leave our city, their tags are getting scanned and the sheriff's office is getting that information. With these ones here, we all share. So anybody that comes into an agreement, such as Tarpon Springs, the sheriff's office in Pasco, Hernando, all over the state of Florida, all over the country, when these tags are put in there, then we have access to that system. And if there's a tag in one of those systems that says, "Hey, this person's the worst of the worst, they're wanted," it'll let one of our people know, and then we can go out there and find the car and make a traffic stop and see if that's the person that's in it and get them off the streets.
So I guess it's scanning everything that goes by, and it's constantly matching that up against the crime database or whatever. And so when it has a hit, and then you guys get an instant notification that driver just passed by, or that car at least just passed by.
Yes, it takes somewhere, depending on the system, between 10 and 20 seconds to tell us, hey, this tag was just observed on Washington and Broadway coming into your city, and this guy is wanted for murder out of California. And then our dispatcher can dispatch them, go out there, make contact with them, and take care of business and get these people off the streets. They're already out there. Like every toll booth has them. And we've been using these for years to fight crimes and track criminals. Especially, I can tell you, we had one down south where I used to work. It was a triple homicide. And we tracked the people all the way to Indiana where we made an arrest based on these tag readers because we can follow their car all the way through. And that's another thing we have where is if somebody goes back and it's like Sand Pebble and does a bunch of car burglaries, we can go back and look at the tags that have been going back there. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, we find a tag that doesn't live back there. It gives us a lead to actually start investigating who did these crimes.
And so when you get that hit, I guess everybody on duty gets it on their laptop?
Yes, it'll go on their laptops, and it also goes right to our comm center. So in case somebody's out of their car or talking to somebody, the dispatcher can also notify and say, hey, it just passed you, and I know you're out of your car. So go find them.
But even if it's not a hit license plate, it still records all of them so that you can go back to look like you just said.
Yes, so it scans them, but if you're a normal law-abiding citizen, it just does nothing. It just erases from the data bank after 30 days. But like I say, if we strategically place them in certain neighborhoods where it's one way and one way out, and we get burglaries back there, we got a good place to start looking for the burglar suspects.
I've always been surprised in how people get away with abductions and murders and all this crazy stuff because there's cameras everywhere. You drive down the road, there's cameras on the toll booths. There's going to be cameras at every corner. So no matter what you do wrong, you just go back and look at you said you weren't here, but there you were, So it's tightening up on the criminals.
You don't understand it because you're a law-abiding citizen. So the criminals, they don't go by our laws. They don't play by our games and our rules. So they do a lot of illegal things such as stealing people's cars, driving without a license, and that's where it becomes difficult to track these people down and get them off our
Or
streets.
put plates from another car and that kind of crazy stuff, right?
I don't want to give anybody ideas, but yes.
Thanks a lot. Hey, they can watch TV like the rest of us.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to make a motion to approve the grant agreement with the State Board of Immigrant Enforcement.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, puts the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Good job, Chief. Thank you very much.
Yep, and special thanks to Chief Ngoglia for being behind us and getting us that grant. It's fantastic. So next up is old business. Item number 8, discussion on old business. Is there any old business to discuss? I saw an email about the Grand Boulevard drainage thing. That's coming up on a CRA thing. So I guess that's an update on Grand Boulevard is our CRA meeting will be approving that. They'll do some amount of work or whatever. And once that work is completed, then they go back to DOT and DOT can then issue the permit. Okay. So I know you've asked
I
a
was
couple times.
definitely going to bring it up.
Yeah.
I still will, just because.
He'll go more in depth there to see, all right?
Okay, cool.
I had a question in the water line replacements in the South District. How's that going?
We're waiting for FDEP to finalize the agreement for us to move forward. They switched some personnel, but we need that agreement locked in before we can go out to bid.
Before you can replace any lines over there at all?
Not yet. I mean, he's done some minor work on other projects, but we've not done that job yet. No.
Okay.
But the money has still been set aside, and we have time. But we have to
Right.
follow what the grant agreement goes by when it comes to that certain pot of money. So.
We'll get it all done by October is just the one thing.
Well, look, regardless, even if we have to carry it over, it's fine. But now that money is kind of appropriated in the form of the grant, so it'll be the grant's timeline. So it's not like we have to worry about the next state appropriation. It's within that grant. So as long as we follow that timeline, we'll be fine.
All right. Have we identified the asbestos lines?
Yes, those are some of the lines that we're addressing. We're addressing those asbestos lines on Green and Betty Street, and then we're addressing the galvanized line on the southwest side of the city, near Bems Court, Mallet Drive, and Pier Road.
Very cool. I just want to. I'll stay on top. Thank you very much.
Oh, no,
Appreciate
we'll keep you updated as we get more. If I had this agreement, we'd already be out there, but we have to follow their guidelines.
Okay, very good.
Anything else on business?
The speed bumps are on here. Anything more on that?
We're still waiting information from Ajax. They've been in contact with us. They go through a third-party vendor to get that. They don't do it themselves. They go through another company to do that, so we're waiting for that. But Daryl is already reaching out to other people to get them done. We have them marked off and where we want them to be. We've sent out the specifications for them, but we're just waiting for the quotes and green light to move forward. So unfortunately, I can't make other people move faster as much as I want them to. I really do, but
okay. This speed signs. I think last time they were ordered.
Speed signs are ordered. We're just waiting for them to show up.
Still waiting.
Yep.
Okay. Any other old business?
You're talking about the ones on Washington.
Yeah. For old business, council approved 2 demolitions. One of them has been stayed. So my question is, on the other demolition, are we moving forward on that, or?
It's a CRA item. I was talking about.
That's like old business. Okay, that's good again then. That's fine. Okay, so that's all the old business. Right? Anything else? Move on. Okay, comments from mayor and city council. I'll start. Let's go with Councilwoman Sullivan.
Can I get an update on finding a special magistrate?
We have, we're in the process of doing that right now. We have met with the only business that actually put in a bid for it, which was the Santini Law Firm.
Okay.
They have provided us a bid for magistrate for roughly about $210 an hour, and that's everything included. So there's no hidden fees, nothing in addition, no travel, nothing else required other than just the fee for the magistrate time that they will be overseeing. Now, with the magistrate piece that we looked at the red light cameras, code enforcement, and everything that we would need for the magistrate to do. So that's all part of his bucket list of things that he will be managing as far as the magistrate events that we do hold here for the city. So I think we're real close because we've already pushed that forward.
Yep, I reached out to them to draft us a contract, so as soon as we have that, you can sign it, they can go to work. So,
Okay, will that come before council?
the contract, I'll have to refer to the city manager and city attorney on that. I don't.
It doesn't necessarily in my book. I'm just wondering if it will.
We've brought on magistrates before for the police department without
Okay.
doing that, and that's what they're going to start on doing. We still got language to work out for the magistrate for code enforcement, so that will come to council.
Yeah.
But this contract, is for just to start the red light cameras and have a person on standby for that.
And once we get the language for the code enforcement, then Santini would also handle that.
Yep. Yeah, they're including that in their contract. So when we do come to terms on that,
it kind of fell in our lap as a positive thing. Very cost effective.
That is
Very
great.
affordable. And so we took the opportunity to go ahead and move forward on that process because we looked at, what the spending limit would probably be on that would probably be far below the threshold that the council even would need to consider at this point. I don't foresee spending $5,000 potentially even in a year right now.
Great.
Cool.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Councilman Hubbard.
No, I'm good.
Good. Councilman Burke?
I just want to thank our chiefs. Tonight it was police chief, but fire chief too. They both go above board with looking for grants and looking for ways to make the city better and make their departments better and take care of their guys and girls. And it means a lot that you both work so hard to do those extra things. We notice and appreciate it. Thank you.
We're lucky.
Anything else? I apologize. I said councilman. That's a woman.
Doesn't matter.
So,
Whatever.
so Vice Mayor.
Yes, I would like to first and foremost thank our faith-based churches, leaders in the community for intercessory prayer on behalf of our city, the council, each one of us, you, Mayor. You know, these guys and gals are literally going in the fire, and they're praying to make sure that you have a covering over you as you make decisions. So I'm very thankful for that. I experienced firsthand with Tina Russell, with her husband Scott, and their children over here on Washington Street. They have a small little revival room, that's what they call it. And for the whole month of January, almost every single day, they had incredible intercessory prayer praying for you guys, the police department, the fire department, directly praying for you, your families, your children, all that stuff. It was really incredible. So I just want to say that we are covered in prayer here in the city, and I'm thankful for you guys for what you bring to the city and bring to the table for us. So just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you for that. And that's it for me.
Thank you. And I'll echo that. Just nothing more powerful than prayer, and we definitely appreciate it. I personally appreciate it. I know you guys work a day and night to make sure that the city's taken care of and pray for all of us up here, and I do appreciate that. Absolutely.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I told the mayor when I was new on in his circle of influence, I said, I want you to know there's a lot of people praying behind your back. Okay.
That's a very, very humbling feeling for sure. So, thanks, Vice Mayor. And so I have a couple things. Let's start off with a really good one. I received a letter from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office that I'd like to read. It's on January 30th, 2026. It's Mayor John Eric Hoover. Dear Mayor Hoover, now that Chief Frank Rosario and his colleagues have completed their work, permit me to take a moment to thank you for allowing him to work on our mock assessment. Chief Rosario and his colleagues gave our files a thorough examination and provided valuable feedback. Chief Rosario is an exceptional representative of the Port Richey Police Department, as he was extremely professional. Again, thank you for allowing Chief Rosario the time to participate. If we can ever reciprocate, please do not hesitate to call on us. Sincerely, Al Nienhuis, Sheriff. Great accolades. Again, do a fantastic job, as we've heard. So I want to take time to let you know that he did reach out and gave that. I don't know exactly what went on there per se, but you jumped out there, and it really shows good on the city that we've got a chief in place that's doing good work. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
And then I'll pass this to you. I don't know if you guys do anything from a records perspective or whatever, but thank you.
Put it in his file.
Yeah, in the file. Did you get a little nervous when I said I got a letter from the Hernando? Okay. I can't remember if I mentioned this or not. I think I did, but I want to reiterate it. On the Adopt a Park and Adopt a Road, all the Adopt a stuff that we have in the city. I know we had the fishing club adopted the Brasher Park signs out there that identifies them, but we never really did anything at the council level. I think it would be good to have a proclamation during that time frame where we can actually formally announce that they adopted that park. And same thing for any road or any other park gets adopted, that we can recognize them not only with the sign but actually at council and let the public know that these folks are stepping up and helping our community. So if we get something together for them, and of course the church obviously is doing the waterfront park, and so same time. And I don't know if there's anything else in the pipeline or already done, but if we can kind of catch up and get all those kind of announced here at council. Is that the only two we have? You guys know of, I guess. Is there one more?
I believe you sent a couple of other possible proclamations to the city manager. So,
well, I'm talking specifically, yes, those as well. If it falls in the policy, but I'm talking specifically about the Adopt a Park or Adopt a Road programs.
Yeah, we could prepare them.
Do we have any others besides the two?
No, we do have one for Flood Awareness Week, and later on we'll have one for city clerk awareness.
Okay.
No other for park.
Right. But nothing else in the parks.
Nope.
So
No. Those are the only two parks.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No streets
We'll
or
get
anything else.
something
Just
together
those.
for that.
Yeah,
Just those two parks.
Yeah, because obviously that's they donate their time. Obviously, the city provides some cleanup stuff or whatever, but they're going out there, they're cleaning up the parks. I mean, it's great stuff. So I want to recognize those guys and gals. And then I went to the park today, waterfront park, and there's right before the pavilion. There's a message board. Some very stale information there. So all our on both sides, even our centennial flyers are in there still. I don't know if people use that, but it's obviously a good place that people go to the park to know stuff coming on. We do got some events coming up that we could have in there, but this has a lot of stale information there. So if we can just
Who's
kind
in
of.
charge of that? I mean,
Almost 1 year old is what it looked like to me.
Did you see it too?
who normally does it?
We have a parks attendant who, change those out. They have to lock the keys to the lock and stuff. We'll have Daryl make
Because there's one of those signboards next to.
It was also extremely dirty, like there was mud smeared on it.
Oh, yeah, it's-
Someone needs to just clean it up, make it look presentable, put some current information on there. Maybe we have a list of upcoming events, the cleanup thing.
Well, we're going to be getting new flyers for the upcoming events anyway, so stuff like that will start going in there. But I will make a point of that.
Yeah, and I know we don't have our own parks department per se. It's kind of utilities, kind of does it all or whatever. So I know it's a staffing issue, whatever. But something as simple as that, if we can at least take care of that, it's easy to forget about it. I'm not trying to cause a stink, but it just.
We appreciate it. We'll get on.
Yep. And then obviously, any other thing we can do from a parks perspective is trimming the mangroves and trees, and just try to keep that up. We want to make sure that those parks look
Can
good.
I comment on that?
Sure.
So I walked some of the parks recently. Chris, turn on your mic. I walked some of the parks recently, and and we brought this up before, and you and I just had this conversation. Mangroves can be trimmed down to 6 feet in height. You can't do it all at once. You can't just like lop them off halfway and let it all fall over, but you can trim them down 12 inches at a time. And we've gotten but if they get to be, 12 or 14 feet tall, you can't touch them.
Well, I think you could take a foot off every so often or something.
Here's how I feel. I'm relatively new on the council. I'm not new to the city. I feel like if we can't keep our view of this beautiful water in running around no haircuts. I mean, guys, why do you run around no haircuts? Because the barber's right down the street. It costs $50 these days, or $40 to get a haircut. But we should be good stewards of what's been given to us, and we don't have to. Today, Eric's like, "What do you want? Trim every mangrove in the whole place?" I'm like, "No, I want the ones where you're standing up there and you're looking at the water. You can see the water. I want it 6 feet down." So, could we please pay attention to that and get that done?
It is on the list. Public Works and Utilities have been working on several projects. One of them right now is the Ritchie and Wilkins drainage project, which is a major section and major drainage that we've put off for quite some time, and they're making some serious headway on that project. Daryl has also replaced several valves that were desperately needing of changing out throughout the city, and then of course some of our northern water distribution areas. So he's been working on that. It is on the to-do list to get that done. So I will talk to him again tomorrow and see if we can make that, expedite that as quickly as possible.
If we have to, for a little bit of help, can we sub out some of it?
We'll probably have to sub out some of that because it just, it's mangroves, once again, they're a protected species. You can't just start hacking away. So you have to be very careful on how much you take off at a time. So we have some equipment that can do it, but he may have to call a subcontractor to come do some of
The folks I talk to are the trimmers, and they do my neighborhood and do my house. And he's like, "Chris, we know how to handle this. This is our job. We're certified and all that stuff. So I just think we need to start making it happen. Be good stewards of what we have."
We've had the trimmers produce invoices for us before, but they have increased over the years from when we used to use them. So it is a budgetary concern as well, but we will try and get as much done as
We
possible.
might try them again because I had a little come to Jesus talk with them. So let's see if maybe they'll be willing to give us a better deal.
I know they did trim some over there on the north side of Brasher.
They make my stuff look like perfect. It's like a fresh haircut, it's every time.
Yeah, and I want to give Daryl and the Utilities Department kudos because they've been working extremely hard.
I'm not throwing rocks.
This is not being critical at all.
No, it's not.
They are doing a wide variety of different projects in several different areas on a daily basis.
And like I said, I'd be willing to talk to all of us here to, if we need to contract out somebody to do some cleanup or whatever, let's do that.
And that's what we'll come back to you guys with. If for some reason, our schedules aren't meeting the demand, then we will bring to you a request for going ahead and looking for a contractor that will outsource, until we get back up to speed with our own public works department.
Yeah, because once you get caught up, it's a little easier to maintain them. But there's places that they've gotten out of hand, and so
I mean, what really, Don, what really kind of fired me up is when we're like, well, we're going to have to build a structure to go up in the air so we can look over top of them. I'm like, well, hold on a minute here. Why don't we just be good stewards and keep the haircut brought down so we don't have to look over top of them so far,
Correct.
Yeah.
Speaking of cleanup, we're also organizing a cleanup in March, citywide cleanup like we used to do. So since this year was we didn't suffer from any storms, we're going to bring that back in March, and it's going to be basically a 2-week process.
Good.
So we're going to be renting dumpsters and providing that service to the city. Information will be posted on the website and our Facebook pages, and we'll start getting it out there to everyone about the particulars and the date range that will be in.
Kind of like brush and all that extra stuff laying around and all that.
Stuff like that, like basically furniture, old goods, things like that.
Okay. So not necessarily brush.
Garage cleanups, yeah.
Usually the first week.
Yeah, because brush cleanup is done once a month anyway. So this will be pretty much leaning towards, people who have older furniture or white goods that have to go out.
What can we do about hazardous stuff, Sal? Because here's the deal. I know a lot of these folks. They got cans of stuff rotting in their garage, in salt water, and they're afraid to do anything with them. They're like bagging them up, throwing them in the trash, just going to our landfills. Can we pick up any of that hazardous stuff?
We can do that. It'd probably be best if we'll put that in our notice to phone call that ahead. We don't want them to throw it in any pile and then that gets mixed up with anything else.
Yeah.
That stuff should be totally separated, and we can take it to like the landfill and stuff like that, but they have a special way of dumping
Or maybe have a special day just for that, so
Yeah.
nothing gets mixed up.
We'll emphasize that. We can pick it up and get rid of it, but we have to really emphasize that it can't be mixed with the other stuff.
It's so hard to get rid of. Some people they'll disguise it, throw it in bags and throw it in the dump. And next thing you know, they're illegally getting rid of it. They're dumping it on other people's property. So maybe we should have we're such a small city, maybe just a little bit of effort to try to get this stuff up.
Drop-off location
We're going to set that up during the cleanup. We're going to have a drop off.
For
We're going to do a
the
drop off at our. Sorry.
for the hazardous materials. the
Yeah,
paints
because
and-
we'll have that set up during our pickup where everyone can bring it,
Yeah.
and we'll set that aside when they drop it off, and then we'll take it out to the landfill up by Hayes Road. So, and then the first week is usually people can bring stuff to us, and then we'll separate it and throw it in the dumpsters to the ones that can do that. And in our second week, we go out and go around the city and pick it up for the people who can't move that stuff on their own.
Yes, and going back, like I said, it's like the fountain was working out there in the park that was broke before.
That was nice.
The benches were
That's
nice. So I mean, they're doing a lot of work. So they want discredit them all. Just if like I said, if they need some help, let us know. Like I said, we can always hire somebody to kind of help take the load off.
Not just was the water fountain working in the lake at Waterfront Park, but there was also an area that they made a little access where you get in there with your kayak launch, which is nice, So Daryl's paying attention to everything we're saying. He's doing his job. I'm very thankful for that. Probably your leadership, and thank you for that.
Not only that, we've done some restoration work to the berm around the waterfront park, which was
Grass.
Yeah,
I saw there was new grass.
Well, there's new grass, but that's because we brought in a lot of fill-in, which actually we're using the topsoil from our brush pile and bringing that out there,
Awesome.
and and rebuilding that berm, and then of course using ryegrass and other natural grasses so it'll grow in for now. So of course it won't wash out because over time that whole entire berm washes out.
Did you see over by the seat facing the bayou where it's washed out and the whole fence is just hanging there by the things hanging there? Did you see that?
Is that still there? Yeah, we're going to address that too.
Yeah, that probably needs a little bit of rock too, not just because dirt.
That's not the first time we've had to do that.
Yeah.
That point over there washes out.
That needs a little bit of what they call riprap, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last thing I want to share with the council and the public. So obviously you've seen that the Gill Dogs property got leveled and all that, and there's been obviously lots of stuff going on with that. So I wanted to give you a little bit of an update that is about to come forward very, very soon. Myself and Don have a meeting with the developer tomorrow. They want to have a conversation on the incentive stuff. We have a workshop on incentive stuff. But I wanted to kind of show you, they have went back and they've rethought what they were thinking about on the 19 property. And so I'm going to show some images here. Again, all subject to change. These are just renderings. Obviously, the process would be at some point they would submit formal plans to the city. And the city, they would go to planning and zoning and they would go through that whole process. If there's a density thing that goes above the 18 units on the 19 property or 15 units within the WOD where the old Gill Dog restaurant is, obviously that would be a negotiation process with the city and the developer on if we give additional density or not, what if we are willing to give additional density, what we would get out of it, and all that conversation would happen. But that being said, they do have some conceptual stuff that there has been some stuff that was submitted before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show kind of what they had before briefly, just to refresh everybody's memory. And I'm going to show you kind of what they've pivoted to. And I did get permission. This is obviously public record. It's been emails that came through. But I did ask permission today to make sure that it was okay if I presented this, just to give people an idea that things are actually happening in the background. And then you guys obviously can see kind of what they've come up with. So let me share here.
Is there a camera on that screen?
No, but we could, and we didn't put it over there, unfortunately. I think if you do
submit this stuff to me, I'll attach it to the minutes.
yeah. I know there was a camera stop on that one that was.
It's over there.
Oh, we changed it. Okay, I thought we did a different one, but so let me get out of here. Okay, so this is, again, this is an overall picture. You can see that the far left here, that's obviously what Seaside's there, and they don't own that property, so kind of forget about that right now. That's kind of their concept. But this area here is the waterfront, and they're going to be mixed-use commercial. There hasn't been any necessarily change in their thoughts on this. And as you kind of see, what you'll see in other subsequent diagrams, there's going to be a boardwalk going all along the water there and around the front. But again, that one property is not there, so that's strictly conceptual if they're able to do that. But they do have the other one, which is Building B. And then off in the top right-hand corner, that's the overhead view of what they initially showed us with a larger apartment-like building. And I'll kind of roll through these relatively quickly. You've seen these before. They were shared out on Facebook if you looked at them there.
Those are the 19 property.
This is the 19 property. So this is what they originally kind of showed.
Right.
Okay. Looking in from Old Post Road, there was the kind of pool and racquetball courts or whatever, those tennis courts. Okay. Again, all this, there's been a pivot, and I'll get to that. But I wanted to pull this back up to refresh your memory. And I wanted to also show a little bit more, which wasn't submitted, of the actual commercial stuff, and that's what this is here. And so this is, if you're looking at the corner of where Seaside is, and obviously they own the strip that goes all the way out to the point here, but obviously they don't own the restaurant. But the concept is that you have two levels of commercial, and then you have the living component above it. This would be looking back towards that corner as if you were standing kind of over on the left side of Hooters, or if you're looking at Hooters, the right side, but as you're looking towards Seaside, looking back at that corner there, the public place there, boardwalk going all the way around.
Eric, has it been discussed whether that's going to be residential retail or is it going to be rentals?
No idea. There's a livable component up, whether it's condos, apartments, or whatever. Have no idea, or just there'll be residents above there. But the first two levels are commercial. Okay.
Restaurants, gyms,
restaurants, shops, whatever. Okay, so this photo here is in between the two buildings, A and B. So if you're looking at the one on the left, that's the one. Obviously, they don't own that property, but the one on the right they do. So you can see their plan overall would be to have a gathering area there in between those two buildings. And you can see different, and don't pay attention to the words, the RIA, the catch something back there, cast iron. Those are just placeholders. Obviously, none of it's just fictional at this point. But to give you an idea of how it might look. And this is that same vantage point. So this is looking from Treadway in. This will be looking from the canal into that, in between the buildings. And you can see
Kind of like where the flybridge will be there between Waterfront Park.
Yeah, so as we talk about, if we're going to put some kind of connection between this and Waterfront Park, it would connect somewhere here, and whatnot, so you can walk around the water, go across Waterfront Park, go there, come back. But obviously that's not part of their initial concepts, right? But anyway, so it's looking at from the canal, so you can see that same gathering area in the center, a little bit more of the retail. This vantage point is the same thing, looking at canal, but just a little further towards 19. Kind of looking in, you'll see a little bit more of the common area. Looking directly off of Treadway into that common area. Okay. So that was that initial set. Again, they didn't, in that original packet, they didn't kind of show any of that because, again, it shows that there's property they don't own, but this is kind of what they're thinking. But so I want to kind of share that. Obviously, once they move forward on what you're going to see next, they would start on their other concept over here on the waterfront.
On the 19 property that we're going to show next.
So this 19 property, which was above here, the original concept with the larger building and homes.
Yeah.
So the pivot, and the reason for this pivot is one, it will allow them to move quicker. They don't have. They were looking at some HUD financing, I think, which is a long time frame. So this also will allow them to have private financing. See if I can get to mine. There it is. Okay. So this is the 19 property. There's 19 right there along the bottom. And so that big building that they had before is now replaced with townhome development. Okay, and you'll see that there's a big water retention lake, and there'll probably be fountain features or whatever to kind of buffer between 19 and the development. Okay, and kind of in the center you have the amenities. It looks like there's two entrances on the backside of O Post and an entrance over off of, I forget that road there.
So no retail in there.
No retail here. This would strictly be residential. And I think it's around 104 units. One of the things they achieve the same density as they had before, but they attract more families because these are going to be 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom units. Okay.
And they're not high rises.
And they're not high rises. That's correct. And each one has, as you can see, they have obviously the lower level would be a garage. They have other parking as well. You have 2 floors, I think, and then you have the top floor would be kind of a terrace area where you could be outside and kind of look out. So that's the new concept that they're looking at. And again, conceptual, all this subject to change, but this is kind of a side view looking across the water. You can kind of see the gas station down there on the left, but this would be off of 19, kind of looking in at it.
Very modern, very beautiful, very brings it up to very clean, very big city. Yeah. It's not a very big city. It's only 3 stories tall.
And then kind of center in the common area.
I mean, one of the problems we have here is the lack of housing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even if you go to rent an apartment somewhere, I mean, the rents are like stupid. So any more housing that we can create is definitely positive for us.
And so the one thing that when they originally said that they're going to pivot to this townhome thing, I'm thinking, well, what's that going to look like? And so when you look at this, it's not not your typical townhome development. It almost looks like an apartment building, but they're individual townhomes. So anyways, that's going to be coming before the board and all that. The next steps that they're looking at is what they need to do first, as far as the process, PUD and whatnot. But they want to, again, their hope is that they will actually start construction midsummer.
Do they have space on the top, like
Yeah, there's terraces.
sun decks up
Yeah, there's terraces on top. You can see.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, where you can go out and put a barbecue grill up there and whatever. So, I just want to share that with you all, so you kind of know what's been going on. They've been working on this for a while now, so it looks like that this is what they're going to. Some version of this is what's going to come to the city for discussion. So, any questions that I can answer on that? Okay.
I like that it's super, super modern and not fish villagey at all.
It is not. That's correct. That to that point, though, that property is not in the WOD. So
The other two properties are in the WOD, and they will not be fishing village.
again, so I asked the question because when I first saw that back last year, I had said, whether it's a fishing village theme, kind of what they've in the past or whatever. They evidently did some market analysis on that type of architecture or whatever, and did get good results back. So again, that doesn't mean that we don't. When they bring it to us, we say we want a fishing village facade or whatever. Again, that's all up in discussions we have.
You can do that in many different ways. You don't have to just you don't have to build. You don't have to build your building like a fishing rod. You know what I mean, to make it a fishing village. You can do other things, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But they are aware of that current theme, and I don't know that we have necessarily teeth in there. This is one of the things we talked about in that WOD about that theme, if you will. So we probably need to talk about that in general. And
The key is we are the fishing village. You know, I mean, it's not like we got to let's paint the picture because we got the water and the fishing rods and the boats right there. So it's not like we have to go overboard on that.
right. So anyway, that they are aware of that. They did look into those different, because when they were trying to put these concepts together, they were looking at different things and testing how that would play out from a demands perspective and all that. And he told me, like I said, it wasn't something that was it didn't work as well as some of these other designs. So, but anyway, it's very preliminary. Just want to let you know that there's his work going on, and hopefully very, very, very soon, especially if they have the plans to try to get that shovels in the ground sometime summer, that there is some stuff coming very, very soon to us. And so, which makes our discussions obviously on the workshop, we need to kind of solidify that if there's going to be anything that we're going to help incentivize that at all. So that's all I have. I'll take questions if you guys have any.
Not a question, kind of a comment. We recently talked about the form-based code. Should we put off staff looking into that until after we have a final on these plans so that we can come up with something that would look good with what they present and what we already have there, and decide if we even need something like that or what we want it to look like, instead of staff working on that now, which I think we had directed them to kind of look at that. But should we put that off? Because they need to do what they need to do, I would think.
Right. There obviously be, once that stuff comes in, there'd be work going on. I don't know that.
I would hate to waste staff time, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying, by starting any kind of form-based.
I think we need to get some paper on the table that's real.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Before we start telling them what to do and how to do it. I think
No, I'm
that's
not saying us
Well,
telling
that's
them
what
what.
form-based code does.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying let them come up with their concept.
Yeah.
We take their concept, what we already have out there, and then we come up with form-based codes to kind of make it all tie together instead
Theme
of
it based on whatever they come up with.
based on whatever they come up with.
and I
Since
do-
They obviously are coming up with something nice, and
Right.
it doesn't necessarily have to have fishnets hanging off of it or anything like that, But we could make something after they present what they're presenting, and then kind of tie it all together.
Yeah. No, and I think that
Rather than
that's one
direct
approach
staff
for sure.
now.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
I know
definitely an approach for sure.
Okay. Well, I know we last meeting, I think we had directed staff to start looking into that, so maybe we want to
No,
cancel that.
they need
Well,
to look into that.
it's in general.
Okay.
The specifics, obviously, with what you're kind of talking about
Right.
with how that plays in. But I think that the structure and all that, getting that in place, I think it's good work.
Okay. All right.
Having a show skeleton.
Okay.
And I want to make sure you guys understand this too. Obviously, as these come, if there's things that because they're going to ask for that additional density that allows for. So we had 15 limit in 15 per acre in the waterfront overlay district, 18 outside of there with that one property. But now that whole new area that was created, you can have up to 40 in a 2.0 FAR if you have 5 acres and you have planned unit development. So what all that means is without 5 acres, you get 15 and 18, depending on where you're at. If you have 5 acres or more, you put a planned unit development together, you bring it to the city, planning zoning through the process, and let's say that they want a full 40. We can, if we look at that project, we can say, we love it. You can have the 40, go forward, right? Or we can say, I don't really like that. And when you talk about architectural things or whatever, all that's negotiable because there's no guarantee to that density unless council and planning and zoning approve the project, right? So we can have conversations about, and again, I don't know what the ask is going to be. Like I said, there was 104 units, I think, on there, which I think is not, I think it goes to 20 units per acre, the way they've currently got it designed, without doing the math, but it's nowhere near the 40. But it is a couple above the 18 original. But again, you have to have a planned unit development in order to get access above that. And so if we like the project, we can negotiate different things, parking, common areas, architecture, all that stuff is up for.
But until they submit the plan.
Right, so they submit something.
Right.
So.
I mean, really, it looked like each one of those had a parking garage in it and then one in front of it.
Yeah, those
so,
they did.
So 104, you get 208 cars, correct?
Yeah, I want to say that they have more parking than they need for the units designed in there currently. But again, I just wanted to let you guys know that was coming. It's kind of what it looks like. So, any questions? Move on. Okay. That's all I have. So I'll entertain a motion if anybody wants to
adjourn.
Okay, motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Adjourn. We'll take, let's come back at 7:30, give just a little bit extra since